They don't know that when they're having a great time, they're actually motivating me and propelling me to that next level. And and so I feed off that, right? So
Yeah.
the more people that are here, the more people that are having fun, the more people that are enjoying, the more energy I'm actually gaining. So I could be in hour 14 a day. I don't even know it. I don't even realize it. I mean, I just love, having people come in, enjoy the experience,
Yeah.
and watching that and having the team members say, Franz, this is the best place I've ever worked. You know, it just naturally all flows together then, and it doesn't feel like work.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers. I'm your host, Joe Mallo. Welcome back to Mastering the Numbers, where I'm extremely excited for my guest today. I have on the show, I have Franz Bauer. He's the owner of the Aurora Inn and the brand new, his brand new restaurant, 56 Tavern. Franz, thanks for taking some time out of your busy day to be on my podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the audience that doesn't know about the Aurora Inn and the 56 Tavern, can you give us some background on it?
Absolutely. So the Aurora Inn goes back almost 100 years. It was built in 1927. And the tavern goes back even farther. It started out as a stagecoach stop back in the mid 1800s. So a lot of history there. The tavern and restaurant has long been popular destination for locals and people traveling through to, gather, grab a bite to eat, create memories on the holidays, all of these great things. So most recently, the restaurant was called Six Horses Tavern for about the last 10 years. And we have been part of it now for about 2.5 years. The hotel, the restaurants, all within one building, and been looking at some different options and different concepts on where do we want to take it, what do we want, who do we want to attract, what concept we want to go with, etc. So we looked around and really over the past few months came across Jay and Izzy from 56 Kitchen and L. And 56 Kitchen is in Mayfield and Solon, L's in Solon. And they really had a great combination. They have it right from the restaurant side to the catering side. They have a great following. It's a higher end tavern for the 56 Kitchen part. And then L has an elevated menu to their restaurant. So combining the two and creating a new concept called 56 Tavern really seemed to make sense for our location here. So that's why we decided on that, and that's something that we'll be opening the doors to in about we expect about the next 3, 4 weeks we'll have that up and running. So right now we are still open as Six Horses Tavern winds down, and but we're starting to slowly put the team together and get everything in place for that transition to 56 Tavern.
Are you having any type of grand opening event to introduce everybody to the new tavern?
So we certainly will. We're going to have a grand opening, and then before that, a little bit of a soft opening. So we'll be announcing that here. We expect the next couple weeks. Our biggest uh, hurdle right now is just making sure that the actual physical restaurant is set, because we're
Yeah.
completely redoing that with everything from wainscoting to new lighting, new table concepts. We want that look and feel to be in place as it should be before we do that. So we don't want to, 80% finished and people walk in and say, well, that wasn't anything special. So we
Yeah.
certainly are anticipating planning that in the next couple few weeks.
Great. Well, as you know, of course, my family and I have been to the Aurora Inn for Mother's Day and Easter, and it was always exceptional. So we're certainly looking forward to the opening of 56 Tavern. Um, so we've known each other for a little while, and I know your background wasn't always in the hotel industry before you bought the hotel. So what inspired you to leave your previous career and buy the Aurora Inn?
Yeah, so so peeling the onion way back, I went to college, went to NYU, liberal arts, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And actually, I did start working in hotels shortly after I took 2 years of college in New York, and I said, I don't know what I want to do. And my dad was very limited basis involved in a hotel. And this when I was 19, 20 years old. And he said, well, why don't you come here and work for the hotel? And I literally walked in the doors there. And from the first day, that instant gratification, I knew that's what I want to do the rest of my life. But the path wasn't a clear path from that to here, as a lot of times they aren't. So I worked for about 20 years for everywhere from the Stouffer's downtown to the Glidden House Inn in Cleveland to a 700-room Hyatt in the Washington, D.C. area. And I was basically creating as my basic training for not if, but when I have a hotel. So 20 years ago, there was an opportunity for a hotel that came up on the west side of Cleveland. Fortunately or unfortunately, it didn't work out. And I'm always a big believer things happen for a reason. And I'm convinced I wasn't prepared for that at that time. So ended up in the mortgage business for over 15 years. I was always watching for that perfect hotel. And by perfect, I meant had meeting space, had a food and beverage, had character, um, was in a good location for the right mix of business to be successful. And all of those things, all of those check boxes were ticked here at the Aurora Inn Hotel Event Center. So when I saw this, I said, this is it, you know. So I was able to tell my brother and pulled a few people together and said, yeah, we can definitely make this a go. And so, I'm on the hotel side, manage it as well as owner with just a couple of partners who help pull this all together.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically the best things don't happen right off the bat.
Right.
It's a winding way to get to where you want to be.
It
Um,
is.
what are some of the biggest challenges or struggles you've had over the course of the last few years with the Aurora Inn? Getting the business up and running, I should say.
Sure. So the business, it was interesting because the previous owners had lost it to the bank, and so we acquired it um, through an auction process from the bank. So um, with that, walking in the door, the hotel had been known, along with the restaurant, as having ups and downs, as having a mixed reputation. It'd be good for 6 months, not so great for another six. Terrible for a couple months, fantastic for eight. And so one of the biggest challenges was overcoming that perception for the local community of, okay, what's this latest edition going to be? What's Franz bringing to the table? Where is it going? Right. And so that was part of the challenge. The other challenge, of course, just like so many businesses, is was is finding the right team to put in place and keep in place to make it happen, especially in the service industry. Um, we're here to create that wow factor, and it's hard to do if you don't have everybody pulling in the same direction to do that. And so finding that right team to execute that plan was also a big challenge. And I've looked around and a lot of people go and address that, but I think one of the number one challenges, especially in the service industry, is we don't look to what the Ubers and the DoorDashes and the Instacarts of the world have done for people who would normally be a server or a busser or a bartender. So when we look around, that's really where those people who would normally take those positions and be great at it are now saying, why should I do that and listen to somebody else's schedule when I can work when I want? I can go in my pajamas and slippers. I can start and stop working and I get paid the same day. And so that's where, I think the root cause of the challenge is, and it still exists, but it seems to be getting better and better.
Well, I think finding the right employees is a big issue for a lot of industries right now. So certainly not just the hotel business.
Absolutely.
When you look back at the Aurora Inn, is there anything you would have done differently, not career wise, but just in the purchase and the growth and the success of the Aurora Inn?
Not really a whole lot, I mean, of course you learn every day, um, things that might have gone better or worked better or different things, but you know, for the most part, been really happy with the way path that it's gone. in the decisions that have been made. Um, and the proof to me is in the reviews. So we look at Expedia, Travelocity, Google. We're under the microscope every day by our
Right.
guests, and I welcome that. To me that's a challenge, and I enjoy that because I can see, great, we hit a 5-star rating 9 times, but that one 3-star rating, is a pebble in my shoe. So I sit there and go, okay,
Right.
what could we have done for that guest? And of course, we're not going to make every guest in every situation 100% happy, but we certainly strive for it. So uh, that's why I encourage the whole team to pursue wow, to say, how can we wow that guest? And if that's our end goal, even if we just did a really good job but didn't wow, we're on the right path. And as long as our target is wow, I think that makes sense. So with that mantra, with that philosophy, we've been able to be successful and have very few stumbles along the way.
That's great. Not, most people can't say that, so that's good that you only had a few. So, what are some of the common misconceptions that you hear out there from people that aren't business owners? Um, as far as running a business is concerned.
Yeah, and especially this business, being in the public eye, people think they know it, right? So they'll say, "Oh, Franz, we're going to come out and support your business, so we're going to come eat at your restaurant once a month." Let's just say. Well, this is really four businesses in one, and the biggest component is the hotel part, right? So if they want to support us, they should say, "Hey, my buddy works for ABC Manufacturing right here in Streetsboro or Aurora, and they have 100 people come in a month to do training, and they're all staying down at the Marriott or Hilton or wherever in a neighboring city. The best thing they can do is to introduce me to that person, and then at the end of the day, have the opportunity to host those people here." So that's the bigger picture that people oftentimes don't see, because even if I had the most successful restaurant in all of Aurora, it wouldn't be enough to sustain the business because we have 66 rooms to fill. We have the grounds to keep with that. We have over 3 acres here. We have a lot of other parts to it that the driving force and the most best and easiest path to success is filling those rooms and doing that successfully. Because guess what? Then in turn, those people are going to join us in the restaurant. They're going to talk about us for meetings, and the ancillary business is going to succeed and fill up because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like, the people they're not planning on staying at the hotel. They're planning on eating, so they think that's the only thing, right?
Right, right.
Instead of digging a little bit deeper. Uh,
Yep,
so
absolutely.
I know you're incredibly busy because we've known each other for a couple of years now. How do you balance your professional and your personal life? I mean, especially being in an industry where, I mean, you could probably work 24 hours a day in the hotel if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a mix, right. So there are times where I even bring my family into the business, and it's a fun, interesting business where I can do that, right? Perfect example is this past Friday. We had a couple bartenders call off, and my wife has, done that on, for various events in the church hall and such. I said, it's exactly the same. It was a beer and wine bar. Um, and she jumped right in. She cleared tables, greeted guests, and was able to say, "Oh, this is great. I'm able to spend time with you." Same thing with my son over the summer. There were a couple weeks where he didn't have camp. Brought him in here every day. He rolled silverware. He checked guests in. He took their luggage to the room. He, folded towels, bus tables, did everything to learn the business. And by no means am I pushing him into the business, but if he comes to me and wants to do the business, I encourage that. And perfect example is next week. He said, "Dad, good news. I have Tuesday off because of elections. Can I come work at the hotel?" So absolutely. So that's part of the way to achieve the balance. And then the other is just to carve out time for myself and for my family. So I create that as a Sundays as it's the quality of time, not the quantity.
Right.
So I could be home every night of the week at 5 p.m., but I could sit there and be on my phone and my son's on his Xbox and my wife is doing her thing and we're all kind of in our separate worlds. Is that any better? And to me, the answer is no. To me, the answer is, integrate the family within the business and then also take that time a Sunday and, take my son to a Browns game and throw the football with him and cook family meals and have a Sunday dinner together.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that quality of time. So
Yeah.
more so than just the amount. So is your son at this age? He's obviously has some interest in the
Yeah,
business. If
he's
he's
yeah,
if he's saying I'm off school and I want to come work
yeah.
there. So is
Yeah, he's
there?
9 years old and he loves it.
Yeah,
He definitely has the passion for it. And so, hopefully that continues. But again, I'm not going to push him towards that because anytime you push someone towards something, they push away. And like two opposite ends of a magnet, right? So
yeah,
kind of just let it naturally happen and certainly encourage it, but not push it.
yeah. That's probably the best idea. You can't push kids in anything; they have to make the
Yeah,
decision on their own.
right.
So how do you continue to stay motivated and focused in your business to continue to grow it to make it better?
For me, it's just it's who I am, it's what I am, right? It uh literally it's a natural high for me when people walk in and they had a great guest experience, when they have a fun time at the bar, when I see them, that's instant gratification for me. So for me, it's kind of a selfish thing because
Yeah,
they don't know that when they're having a great time, they're actually motivating me and propelling me to that next level. And so I feed off that, right? So
yeah,
the more people that are here, the more people that are having fun, the more people that are enjoying, the more energy I'm actually gaining. So I could be in hour 14 a day. I don't even know it. I don't even realize it. I mean, I just love, having people come in, enjoy the experience,
yeah,
and watching that and having the team members say, Franz, this is the best place I've ever worked. You know, it just naturally all flows together then, and it doesn't feel like
yeah,
work.
yeah. Yeah, that makes it a great experience for you. So do you have a support team that keeps you on track as well, either at work or at home or both?
Yeah, I mean, I have a great right hand here who helps keep on track and I bounce ideas off, and that's Cindy.
Yeah.
We have then of course, like I said, on the food and beverage side, that's one of the reasons why I chose 56 Tavern because Jay and Izzy are lifelong restaurateurs. Jay's dad was involved with Peter Mudd restaurant, which is well known here. Um, they have several successful catering businesses and restaurant businesses now that have been for years. So they certainly are a sounding board and a support from the food and beverage side of things. And then even as as out of many sound, those Friday mornings, at BNI to interact with other business people
Yeah.
to, bounce around ideas, to have the one-on-ones, to talk about different ideas, to whether it's a perspective from a client like you've been here as a guest, or business challenges. That's also an important piece of the puzzle. So a little bit of each of those, and then I try to listen to and read as much material as I can to get different perspectives on hospitality and business to kind of help maintain fresh ideas and motivation.
Well, that's a perfect segue because the next question is really to ask, if innovation was a big part of the hotel or restaurant business.
Absolutely. Well, I think that that's what interested me so much is that, I saw so many hotels just following
Yeah.
and just kind of, for lack of a better term, striving for mediocrity. Just, oh, we're going to be just as good as that next hotel, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, the challenge is let's look at other industries and other ways that every day, how can we get a little bit better and do something a little bit different, right? Kaizen, right? So that incremental improvement on what is it that we can do to create that next level better guest experience, right? Whether it's in our pet rooms where we give doggy treats as welcomes and a little bandana that's a Aurora Inn bandana for
Yeah.
our four-legged guests. Most recently, we just put in record players in our deluxe rooms. Something that I saw at a different hotel, but again, nothing that I've seen in this area. Um, and to all the way going back to my college days where I said I don't want to study hotel management because that's just doing the same thing again and again, right?
Right.
I studied business, and back when I studied it, just-in-time inventory was a thing, right? So how do I apply that to housekeeping, right? How do we improve efficiencies? How do we do things better back in the house as well as front of the house? So always trying to draw from other industries and other things that I see that is going to take that guest experience to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely understand what you're saying about other hotels just striving to be mediocre. As I've traveled for years, for the last 20 years for work, and I get it. They are certainly striving just to be mediocre. Um,
Right, right.
so how do you to take that one step further? How do you stay ahead of your competition?
Well, I visit it a lot, whether that's on the hotel or restaurant side, right? And then I observe what they're doing. And again, I'll look to whether it's inspiration from um, something as simple as videos online, where I see other hotels in the world doing something else, other restaurants in the world doing something different. Um, and again, that's one of my favorite things to do is to travel, right? And so where I can gain inspiration from some of these world-class uh, hotels. And my wife laughed because, for example, we were just in Lake Tahoe this past year, and I said, "Hey, let's just go into the Ritz-Carlton just to see what they're doing." Right? It was a mountainside resort, right? And they're charging $1,500 a night. But what are they doing? What can we glean from that? And what can we do even that? Okay, they took it this level. What can we take it to the next level? Whether that's a welcome amenity, whether that's something they're doing at check-in for a smoother, faster, better process. There are innovations that are as simple as using technology. There's a system called IKEA that we use that automatically texts the guest within an hour of check-in and says, "Welcome, I'm IKEA. If I can do anything, let me know." They don't know. So I've had comment cards say, was great. It was wonderful during our whole stay, you know. But so it's leveraging technology also, right?
Yeah.
And I get those messages on my phone instantly. So if someone at the desk didn't respond, I'm able to respond from my cell phone
Yeah.
on the guest request immediately. And that really goes a long way.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the little things, right?
100%. It's a million little things
Yeah.
that all come together to
Right.
some noticeable, some not.
Yeah. For someone who might be interested in getting into your industry and maybe sometime down the road being a hotel owner, just like yourself, a restaurant owner, what have you found the most challenging about this?
Well, I mean, obviously, as you alluded to before, it's the work-life balance, right? Because the hotel is a 24/7 business. It's making sure that you carve the time out and you discipline yourself to make time for yourself and for family, both, right? It's too easy. When first started the first 6 months, I was literally staying night here 6 nights a week, and I was probably spending 16 to 18 hours a day working. And that's not sustainable, right? So making sure that uh, you're self-aware of that, making sure you keep that balance. Because by keeping that balance, you'll actually do better and be fresher and have better perspective than if you're just nose to the grindstone and you can easily get lost and not see the forest through the trees then.